Psychic mediums and ancient wisdom. Not your typical self-help stuff, right? But that's what I love about these deep dives. Zen Space for All, channeled in September 2024. I mean, we're talking like straightforward advice here or more like whittles from the universe.
You know, it's fascinating how these stories blend those classic Buddhist ideas with dilemmas that feel like they're straight out of today's news, almost like these stories are talking directly to us about all the anxieties and hopes we're dealing with in the 21st century.
Okay, see, that gives me chills.
Yeah.
So where do we even start to unpack that? Can these stories, channeled across time, and let's be real, through a psychic medium, can they really help us figure out our own lives in this day and age?
I think that's the journey we're on together, right? Each story is like a little window into a bigger truth, like a key that unlocks a deeper understanding of how to live a more, authentic and mindful life in the world.
I love that, Aki. All right, so let's unlock this first story, The Businessman and Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
This one really resonated with me. You have this businessman, he loses absolutely everything. His whole business collapses. Total wipeout.
And he doesn't just dabble in spirituality, he goes all in on Buddhist teachings.
Oh, totally. I can practically picture him surrounded by those ancient scrolls, desperately searching for enlightenment.
Right.
But, and this is what got me, in the middle of his quest for, personal enlightenment, he stumbles upon all this suffering,
Right.
other people's suffering. And suddenly, his priorities totally change. Helping them becomes way more important than finding his own enlightenment. Talk about a plot twist.
It's such a beautiful example of right action. That's a core principle in Buddhism that's deeply tied to the concept of dharma, which is essentially the natural law, the way things are. The story emphasizes that just studying or understanding the teachings isn't enough. You have to live them out. And in this case, compassion becomes the path to enlightenment.
See, that's what gets me. It's that saying, actions speak louder than words, but on a much deeper level, Especially in our world today, where everyone is so obsessed with personal success, it's easy to get so caught up in your own goals that you completely forget to look around and see how you can help other people. It's like a wake-up call, this story.
Absolutely. And the Chinese text at the end of the story really drives that point home. The path to enlightenment is not just in studying, but in our selfless love for others.
Whoa, okay, so it's not just about meditating on a mountaintop somewhere. It's about bringing that mindfulness, that compassion into our everyday lives, our everyday interactions. But how do you actually do that? I mean, in our busy lives, how do we even find those opportunities for right action?
That's the question the story wants us to wrestle with, I think. And sometimes those answers can pop up in the most unexpected places.
Let's shift gears to the second story, The Dancing Woman's Ascent. This one is full of vivid imagery, almost like a dream of dancer. This disapproving crowd, water, and then this magical ascent. It feels very symbolic.
Oh, 100%. This one feels different, almost like an ancient myth or something. Okay, set the scene for us.
So we're in this society where dancers are looked down on, seen as low class. It's a world that's really quick to judge, quick to dismiss anyone who doesn't fit in. But our main character, this female dancer, she's totally unfazed by any of it. Yeah, it's like she's in her own world, lost in the dance, totally oblivious to everyone giving her dirty looks. It's like she's dancing for something way bigger than herself,
Right.
way bigger than their judgment. And that's where her power comes from, don't you think? That total dedication to what she's doing.
But then things start to shift. It's not just the dance. It's like she's breaking free from the physical world. She's gliding over water, rising above all the negativity, almost like she's defying gravity. What's going on there?
I see it as this amazing picture of how being true to yourself can be its own kind of transformation. The water, that's fluidity, adaptability, change. Those are qualities she embodies as she moves through the world. And watch what happens as she rises, the way that people watching her, how their reactions start to change too. They go from scorn to awe.
Yeah.
Right? It's like just by embracing her own path, her own truth, she accidentally changes how they see her. Like that quote, be the change you wish to see, but through art, through being true to yourself.
Exactly. And those little drops of water splashing on the crowd as she ascends, I think of those as the ripple effect of authenticity. The energy we put out, our true selves, it affects people, even if we aren't trying to change them.
Okay, goosebumps. So it's not about shoving your beliefs down people's throats. It's about living them fully and trusting that your authenticity will rub off on those around you. And that last image, the dancer bathed in this divine light as she ascends into the heavens, that's about reaching your full potential, right?
It's about spiritual liberation, finding true freedom by aligning with your most authentic self. The Chinese text at the end really hits on this. Be brave to follow your passion, uninfluenced by external judgments, because true strength comes from inner determination and sincerity. When we are true to ourselves, we can not only change our own destiny, but also inspire and influence the people around us.
Man, these stories are like poetry with a side of wisdom.
Mm.
But it makes you wonder, in a world that's constantly telling us who we should be, how do we even begin to quiet all that noise? How do we tune into our own inner voice, our own authentic rhythm?
That's the lifelong practice, isn't it? To find that stillness within, even in the middle of all the chaos. Speaking of chaos, our next story, The Fleeting Fireworks, takes us right into the thick of it. A busy town square, the night sky lit up with this explosion of color.
Okay, love a good fireworks show. But knowing these stories, I have a feeling there's more to it than just pretty lights.
You're right. This story goes deep on perception and appreciation, or, well, the lack of it. It's about how our modern world is all about instant gratification instead of really appreciating things.
All right, I'm intrigued. Paint the picture for us what's happening in this town square.
Picture this. A huge crowd, everyone staring up at this incredible fireworks display. But then, just like that, it's over. And people are left with this feeling of emptiness. Is that it? They're muttering. That quick burst of wonder is replaced by this weird disappointment.
Ugh, I've been there. That feeling of, wait, it's over already. Like we get so wrapped up in the anticipation, the spectacle, that we forget to actually experience it. But what about the fireworks maker? What's their role in all of this?
That's the genius of the story. Hidden from this clueless crowd, there's the fireworks maker. The person who poured their heart and soul into making this amazing show. And how are they feeling? Totally deflated by everyone's shallow reaction, all that artistry, all that dedication, ignored.
It's like they missed the entire point, so focused on the end result, the pretty lights, that they didn't even think about the work, the passion, all the hours that went into creating the show. Sounds a lot like our world, doesn't it? Yeah. Always chasing that next dopamine rush, swiping, clicking, consuming, without actually appreciating all the work and passion that goes into making the things we love.
It's true. Like, we're all rushing to the next fireworks show, missing out on the beauty right here, right now. The simple joys. Think about it. When was the last time you really tasted your food? Like, appreciating the different flavors, the textures, the fact that someone put effort into making that for you. Or when did you last get lost in a good book? That feeling of wonder at the author's ability to just transport you to a whole other world.
Okay, this is making me seriously rethink my weekend Netflix binges. So how do we get out of this instant gratification loop? How do we cultivate, I don't know, more mindful appreciation in this crazy, fast-paced world?
I think it starts with a conscious effort to slow down. Shifting our focus from just the outcome to the process, the journey. This story is asking us to pause, to look deeper, and find the extraordinary in the everyday. Like, take something simple, a pen. Do you ever really think about the design, the materials, the craftsmanship that went into making such a basic object?
Whoa. I'm actually holding a pen right now, and I've never thought about it like that. It's like we're so used to just having stuff that we forget to see the beauty in it, the effort that went into making it.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of the story. It's about teaching ourselves to see the world through a new lens, one of gratitude, of appreciation, savoring the process, the journey, as much as the destination, finding the extraordinary within the ordinary.
Okay, sign me up for that. Trade my fireworks for a magnifying glass. This whole idea of finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, that's what the next story, Beauty in the Details, is all about, right?
You got it. It's a perfect illustration of the power of mindfulness being present, seeing the world with fresh eyes.
All right, lay it on me.
Imagine this, a man is completely lost in this huge field of flowers. Now that might sound kind of nice.
Until you realize he's totally and utterly lost, yeah.
Exactly. So what does he do? Try to retrace his steps, look for a landmark, maybe shout for help.
Well, that's what I'd hope.
His first thought is a little more extreme. He actually thinks about burning the whole field down.
Whoa, hold on. Burning down an entire field of flowers seems like a bit of an overreaction. But then again, I get it when you're scared, lost. Sometimes your instinct is to lash out, try to regain control, even if it means destroying something beautiful.
That's it. It's that deep down survival instinct, the urge to protect ourselves, even if it means harming something else in the process. But here's the good part. Our lost traveler has a change of heart, like a little spark of something deeper.
Okay, so what stops him from turning this field into a giant bonfire?
Compassion. In that split second, he sees the beauty around him, all that life in the field, and he chooses to find a different way, even if it means staying lost a little while longer.
Now that is powerful. Choosing compassion over fear, even when he's feeling vulnerable, it's like he realizes that sometimes being brave means choosing kindness, even when it's tough, even when it feels counterintuitive.
Absolutely. And that one decision, that act of choosing compassion, it has huge implications. He's aligning himself with a fundamental Buddhist principle, ahimsa, non-harming. It's about recognizing that we are all connected and acting with loving kindness towards ourselves, towards each other, and towards the world around us.
This is a story, though, right? So does he get, like, a cosmic high five for choosing compassion?
Well, it wouldn't be much of a story without a touch of magic, right? As soon as he chooses compassion, a guiding light appears, leading him to safety.
No way. I love that. So it's not just about feeling good because he made the compassionate choice. It literally lights his path forward.
Exactly. It's a metaphor for how compassion can guide us, even in the toughest times, even when we feel lost and alone. Remember that line at the end of the story in the Chinese text? Even in moments of despair, choosing compassion over selfishness often brings unexpected help and guidance. When we act with kindness, the light within us illuminates the path forward, helping us find our way, even when lost.
Beautiful. It's like that saying, when you're going through hell, keep going. But in this case, compassion's the thing that lights the way. Makes you think, doesn't it? In those moments when we feel most lost, what would it look like to use compassion as our compass? Trust that it might lead us back to ourselves, back to our own true north.
Such a powerful question to consider. And maybe that's the invitation of this story, of all these stories, of this whole deep dive, to allow ourselves to be challenged, to question what we think we know, and be open to the transformative power of these ancient teachings.
We've covered some incredible Zen stories today. From right action to radical authenticity, from mindful appreciation to choosing compassion even when we feel lost. It's amazing how these stories, these teachings, can feel so old and yet so relevant to our lives right now.
That's the power of enduring wisdom, right? These stories hold up a mirror to us. They show us our own humanity, our own potential for growth. They give us a different way to look at the world, one rooted in compassion, mindfulness, and deep respect for ourselves and each other.
It's like they're giving us a sneak peek at a different way of being, a way to move through life with more presence, more purpose, more heart.
Perfectly said. And you know, if we really let these stories sink in, if they spark our curiosity or contemplation, they have the power to change not just our own lives, but the world around us.
So as you go about your day, think about this. What would it look like to bring a little bit of that Zen wisdom into your life? To choose kindness, to embrace your true self, to truly appreciate the beauty of this moment right here, right now.
What little act of compassion can you offer today? What truth is inside you, waiting to be shared? How can you bring that mindful awareness to even the most ordinary bits of your day? These are the questions we hope you'll keep exploring, inspired by these timeless stories.
It's been awesome taking this deep dive with you today. Until next time, may your journey be filled with wisdom, compassion, and maybe even a little bit of Zen.